Running round the Roval. All right, Charlotte Roval went pretty well from us. Our iRating went from a 1361 to a 1519. 1519. I think that's the first time my iRating has been over 1500. We've been like mid 14s before that I can remember, but I think that's the first time we've gone over 1500. So, yay! It'll go away next week, I'm pretty sure. Our safety rating went from an A 3.19 to an A 4.73. It kind of hovered, bounced back up and down in the high fours. I think we got up to a 4.9 at one point. So, yeah, up and down a little bit around there. Yeah, really good week at the Roval. No wins this week. We broke our streak of having wins. Oh well, you know, we did pretty well. Our times, we got our first race, our best lap time was a 1:20.185. I was having some trouble on the portion of the course where you go up the hill and then onto the oval part of the course. Those were the two areas that were holding me up. I looked at some tutorials and kind of got those down a little bit better. We ended up with a best race lap of a 1:18.834 and a best practice lap of a 1:18.328. I feel like there were a couple times when I was doing practice where I was close to getting a 17, but just wasn't there. It's amazing to me how much difference the track temperature makes. Like I've known this for a while now. Like cooler track temperatures are way grippier, and like the amount that can affect things. Like a lot of the practice sessions, the track temp could get down in the 90s Fahrenheit. Sorry, Celsius buddies, but and I 118's easy, and then the races were all like 110 or higher for the track temp, and the 18s were a little tougher to get there. Plus, during practice, I think I'm a little bit more willing to risk things, like because if you crash, like big deal. Whereas in the race, if you crash, it's a little bit more of a setback. So yeah, it went, like I said, the Roval was kind to us. No big wins, but we did well. As far as how we did well, we didn't do. It was kind of flipped from last week at Summit. Last week at Summit, the challenge, the shorter races, the Fanatec GT3 challenge races, we did better in, and really struggled with the sprint races. Kind of the opposite this week. The struggle in the challenge races wasn't quite as bad as my struggle in the 40-minute races last week, but we still did not do as well in those. So in the Fanatec GT3 challenge, we placed 68th this week with an average start of 8th and average finish of 8th. Overall, we're 24th in that series, which I'm pretty proud of. We'll see how it stays there with people's bye weeks coming in, which they should have already been coming in. And we took a bye week ourselves earlier, so maybe we'll hold on to that top page. Maybe not. We'll see. Our average start was 7th and our average finish is 8th overall for the whole season. In the VRS GT3 Sprint Series, we placed 52nd this week with an average start of 11th and an average finish of 10th, whereas overall we're 57th in that series with an average start of 12th and average finish of 14th. 52nd is a pretty good place for us during one of these weeks in that series. I think the reason that we did better this week in the sprint versus the challenge is it was like last week I could qualify really well in the challenge races and just start from the front. This week because of that 1500 iRating, we were getting put into higher splits. So the competition was a little bit more difficult. So I wasn't able to start towards the front of those challenge races quite as easily, and I'd get stuck behind some folks and I couldn't figure out a way to get around them. Whereas in the sprint series, even when I got stuck behind the folks, I could do some pit shenanigans and end up passing them in the pits. And survivability on this track seemed to be something that folks struggled with, where I didn't really. Hence the big safety rating boost. I didn't really crash out at all that I remember. No, that's not true. We did, but not horribly. I think I had one race where I spun a couple times and still managed to pull off like a top 10 at least. Not remembering the specifics right now, and since I'm recording, I'm not gonna dig up the stuff. It's not important anyway. We ended up getting like a couple top fives in the VRS Sprint Series because, like I said, we kept going. We did not lose a ton of pace over the race. We may not have been the fastest car on the track at any given point, but over the course of it, we were able to pull off a pretty good average pace, which helped and got us some good finishes. We're getting close to the end of the season, and we're kind of at the point where we were in the TCRs, where we did 2 seasons in the TCR, and I was starting to get some confidence and do a lot better, I think, overall in that car, in that series. And now we're kind of in the same place with the GT3s, and I'm really happy with that. Having done 2 seasons here and starting to do well, we're reaching the end of the season, so the question becomes, we're reaching the end of a year of Project Git Gud now, and like I had only really initially planned out like what a year this looked like, so I'm kind of at an impasse now. Do I continue with the GT3s into next season? Do I continue doing those weekly updates as far as like how the races went each week, or do we shift to a different series? Do we shift to a different format of videos? Do I have less frequent, more generalized videos? I've got some stuff planned for the end of the year, not calendar year, but year of Project Git Gud going. So hit the subscribe button to make sure you get notified when those come out. I think there's a bell too that would help with that. But the way that I'm looking at it in terms of like cars, we could continue. We got a few options. We could continue with the GT3s and the Soul GT3 series and see what kind of gains we would get for a 3rd season, and just focus in on that. I don't know how exciting that would be or how much additional improvement we would have over the course of another 13 weeks or so, 15 at this point. We could move on to just a little bit of a step up and start doing GTEs, which are like the GT3 cars but with more downforce and power and fewer driver aids. Everybody tells me that those are really fun. The issue I have with those is that they're only in multi-class racing, which I'm not a huge fan of, but that would be another skill to work on as the next season goes. We could go to a open wheel car and work on some open wheel stuff. I'm not opposed to that. That sounds interesting. We could go to oval, which is completely out of my wheelhouse, and I know that like Stig and some other people would be more than happy to help me out with learning that. I don't know. I mean, you can sound off in the comments how much of the audience would want to follow to oval, since I've built everything pretty much around the road racing, and I don't know how much overlap there is there between the two audiences. We'll see. Or, and this is maybe what I'm leaning towards, picking a car that's like a lot harder to drive. Like, from what I understand, the Porsche Cup car or V8 supercars, I've driven both of them. and they require a lot more patience, and I'm not quite sure how to say a lot more, like, not dedication, but deliberateness. I know the word started with a D. With your inputs and knowing what and when and how much to give those inputs to not die. I don't know. I kind of want to see which one would help me out in improving the best bang for my buck as far as time goes in investing into those series. Sound off in the comments if you have an opinion on either what you'd like me to see me do, or what you think would be the best as far as my learning development in this endeavor. I have a feeling most people think just, hey man, do what you want, but and I appreciate that. Do what's fun. For me, fun is right now improving, and I kind of, like I said, want to get the most efficiency with that improvement. Although continuing gradual improvement while seeing more success would be fun too. Anyhow, that's kind of what's on the road ahead. Get it? Road? Sorry. But yeah, look forward to that kind of stuff coming up. Like I said, I've got some videos planned for kind of wrapping up the year of Project Git Good. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. It helps out the channel a ton, and you'll be notified, hopefully, when those videos go live, that you'll be able to see them pop up in your feed. And, you know, we'll get those videos going. We'll see if we decide to continue the weekly progress updates, I guess. Maybe we'll come up with a different name for the next year, season, whatever you want to call it. Thumbs up if you liked the video, thumbs down if you didn't. And as always, head on over to twitch.tv/thepiltdownman to follow along live. Till then, have a good one. Bye.